Mia Khalifa is a woman best known for her stint in the adult film industry, who over the past decade has attempted to not be defined by her old life and instead turn herself into a social media influencer, boasting millions of followers. Let's be honest here, you all know who she is, with the journalists and YouTubers alike having made short videos and articles detailing the basic gist of things. Recently though, me listening to a few podcasts with her born out of curiosity soon turned into a full journey down the Khalifa rabbit hole, as I began listening to every single one of her interviews and scouring all the archives I could find, leading me to discover an untold tale of one of the most famous people on the internet that no one has actually bothered to piece together. In short, I want to get to the bottom of the many paradoxes and inconsistencies of this former adult star, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's start simply with the story you know, which is the one Mia has told time and time again. Sarah Jo Shaman, Mia Khalifa's birth name, was born in Beirut, Lebanon on February 10, 1993. For the first 8 years of her life, she lived in the Middle East and was raised Catholic while attending private school that taught her English. In 2001, closely after 9/11, her family moved to America, which proved to be terrible timing. Mia had a very difficult time assimilating in the US initially. The public school system was not kind either, as she was one of the very few non-white students and was bullied for her weight. Mia claims to have grown up feeling out of place and unattractive.
And then I get to high school, and I'm kind of in that weird middle class where I know the popular kids, and I'm cool with like one or two of them, but we like don't hang out outside of school. I'm not really a loser. I just have no place in high school. I don't know my place.
There was bullying surrounding the way I looked, the way I acted, the food I brought to school, basically everything. I just did, I didn't know anything else. So I didn't know if I would ever fit in anywhere. I thought everywhere was like this.
So you felt very isolated.
Very.
As a teen, she was sent to a military boarding school and soon started dating her first husband, Wyatt O'Brien, who was 7 years older than her. They met when she was 16 and he was 23, eloping 4 days after her 18th birthday, which she did because she had very little self-worth at the time.
Toxic, manipulative relationships and men in your life, what do you think was like the reason you got into them, and how did you get out of them?
I got into them because I didn't think highly of myself.
Following the marriage, the teen decided to go to college at the University of Texas, El Paso, and received a bachelor's degree in history. It was in this period that she lost 60 pounds. Despite now being happy with her weight, she was still insecure about her body, which led her to undergo plastic surgery. Overnight, she started receiving tons of attention for her new look. This is when, at 21, she was randomly stopped by a man in the adult industry.
Someone did confront me, but it was out like I was at the mall.
Okay.
And they were like, hey, you want to do some modeling? And, I never really had my wild phase in college. I was very reserved.
And a car literally stops dead on its tracks and rolls the window down. And they're like, you are so gorgeous. Would you like to model for me? Like, can I give you my card?
She then took his card home as a joke to show her husband, who was thrilled by the idea of seeing his wife in adult movies. She would later accuse him of abuse and pushing the young woman into an industry that she did not morally or ethically agree with. She told many media outlets that she did it to please him and not because it was something she was interested in.
I deeply and morally and fundamentally disagree. Legally.
Yeah.
Also, if we're getting nitpicky.
Right, like ethically.
Yeah. With them as a person. I even feel weird calling it a relationship because the dynamic was not one of a relationship. It was more one of someone who saw a toy to play with.
Despite these supposed hang-ups, she would go on to film an infamous hijab-wearing scene under the name Mia Khalifa that made her one of the most watched adult actresses in the world. The former claims that the scene was not her idea and she did not want to do it, fearing for her life.
You must have known how provocative that was.
I verbatim told them, you guys are going to get me killed.
And they said?
They just laughed.
Mia Khalifa would become one of the most notorious names in porn, which is when Bang Bros provided her a contract she allegedly signed under extreme duress.
When you sign your contracts, you have, the president and the CEO of the company sitting in the room with you, waiting for you to read it. And when you're reading it, you're not comprehending anything that's written because you're so nervous because people are staring at you.
When these videos exploded in popularity and millions took to the internet to scrutinize her, she tried to get away and lead a normal life, but following 2 failed normie job attempts, she felt it was impossible to get her old anonymous life back. It was around this time that she attempted to become a content creator and build her social media following. Through this, many people wanted to hear her story, as she began speaking against the adult industry for tricking vulnerable women, like herself, into bad contracts, and professed to have only made $12,000 for her videos. Soon after calling the multi-million-dollar organization out, they created an alleged smear campaign against her.
The people responsible for this get to just live high and dry, and they get to continue doing it to this day.
Can I tell you what makes me sleep peacefully at night, though?
Sure.
Knowing that a man made an entire smear campaign against me because that's how much he fears me.
Mia has said time and time again that she would never have gone into this career if it hadn't been for men who had forced her into positions that she did not want to be in. And this is essentially the surface level story she's been telling people for the last 10 years. Heck, even I retold it years ago in a video covering her. Every interview she does usually revolves around her getting asked the same handful of questions with the same responses, and occasionally if someone says something she doesn't like, it becomes very tense.
The word porn star appears immediately. That is something that you will never, ever overcome, however much.
First of all, that's rude. I'm trying to.
First of all, I was in the adult industry for 3 months, so you need to fact check before you ask me to call into your shitty radio station.
This pattern has caused there to be a simplified, and in my opinion at least, often skewed telling of events. That being said, through deeper digging, I was able to compile some often unreferenced information, usually in the form of an occasional anecdote she'd tell if she was feeling more comfortable. And even though I haven't connected everything, I think I have a far better understanding of this tale that is often surprising, outrageous, and honestly quite tragic. Let's go back to the beginning with her upbringing to shed more light on why Sarah might possibly have turned into Mia. Coming from the Middle East, her parents must have been terrified of Western cultures and the influences it could have on their daughter. Due to this, Mia claims that she had more freedom in Lebanon to visit friends than she did in the States. Being unsuccessful socially at public school, her parents decided to move her to Massanutten Military Academy, a boarding school for grades 8 through 12 located in Woodstock, Virginia. Despite being tormented at public school and knowing how horrible it feels to be picked on, Mia has admitted to being a bully while at the academy.
If you sat in front of me in class, you are getting a Jolly Rancher in your hand.
Dude. You're a bully. Were you a bully?
I was.
It may have been her natural ability to haze other students that allowed her to find community at this academy, or maybe it was because she had more freedom than living with her parents. In more recent interviews, she refers to herself as isolated in high school, though it does appear to be where she became more active in an adult context.
Were you known as the blowjob girl?
I was.
So depending on what interview you're listening to, there are 2 possible reasons Mia went to the expensive boarding school. She had no friends at public school, or she was a wild child her parents were desperately trying to tame. After graduation, Mia reflected on her experience positively and even mentioned that she had plans to continue in the military. However, those aspirations quickly faded when she realized she was getting tired of the strict schedule. Without a plan and looking to feel settled, she turned her attention to another way of still having the military around her without being directly involved: marrying into the military. It was in the boarding school that was meant to shelter her where Mia met her first husband, Wyatt O'Brien. He was 23 at the time when she was only 16. This should have been a warning for Mia, but she admitted that at the time she felt a connection with Wyatt because he made her feel desired. He would call her mature for her age. 4 days after her 18th birthday in 2011, he convinced Mia to elope, though the couple didn't spend much time together because the military forced Wyatt to be away often. When they were together, she discovered a dark secret of Mr. O'Brien. He could only have sex after watching explicit content.
He had a very unhealthy porn obsession. It was to the point where we never had sex unless he was watching porn first, and it was, I mean, that was just his twisted fantasy.
To be fair, her husband has never spoken to the media about this relationship. But interestingly, with enough digging, you can see that they both seem to be active online during this era. Going to Reddit, I discovered a post talking about users named Dirty Chem and Dirty Chem's wife, who used to be in the cuckolding community. This is interesting because some claim them to be Mia and Wyatt before her rise to fame. It was from that lead that I uncovered lewd photos of Mia on multiple subreddits prior to her professional career, where she seems to tease her husband. She posted things such as, "Today I plan on going and getting by a guy who thinks I'm cheating on my husband with him, while he works late and leaving this post on the computer alone with dinner sitting in front of it." The attached link shows her messaging a man named Cody who is excited to hook up with Mia. "I just want to get you already. Should I leave, LOL? Yes. Hallelujah. LMAO. There's even a follow-up of Wyatt finding out about her and Cody and getting excited. Here you can see Mia's hand on top of a man's lap that is presumably not her husband's, with her spouse responding, "Go on." Things got progressively racier from here, with the images and messages turning into posts showing full-on explicit acts. One Redditor states, "My wife likes to put something sexy on when my buddy comes over for our weekly poker game." Wyatt responded, "Whoa, that's awesome. You two should figure out a way to make sure all the guys see but act like it's a mistake. See who makes a move on her." Wyatt even answered questions about Mia and confirmed her identity in an R Hot Wife post. "That's my wife, not Indian though, Lebanese. She's been posted on this sub multiple times, LOL." These accounts predate Mia's time in the adult industry, making the popular story of Mia randomly being given a card and jumping into hardcore porn less believable, since there seemed to be a slower progression towards that. Many of the posts involving Wyatt and Mia are now deleted, but I did manage to find a few where Wyatt addresses his wife coming into the industry. In 2020, he responded to someone posting about Mia being forced into filming. It was an experimental age for both of us. We both enjoyed it at the time." Then when someone asked how he felt about his ex being a famous adult star, he responded with, "Don't really care, to be honest." Wyatt also responded back to a Redditor who felt bad that girls like Mia would do porn. Wyatt responded, "Why? She enjoys it." O'Brien has been quiet about his former wife since these posts, most likely because he'd now have to answer for the claims of grooming, and we'll get into their separation later. It's interesting to show that her explicit internet debut was much earlier than any source lists it as currently. And from what I can tell, she has never publicly talked about these accounts. But Reddit is not the only topic Mia avoids discussing. When Mia was living in El Paso, Texas in 2012, still married, working at a restaurant while attending college, she lost a lot of weight, which she talks about a lot.
And then I kind of started to chase that validation because I felt like that was the only way for me to get positive attention from men because I was so overweight growing up.
I lost 50 pounds in college, but I was overweight for, honestly, until a year before I went into the industry.
While it is a good anecdote, I noticed that as time has gone on, she has made the spin on it much more negative.
You lost 50 pounds exercising or starving or all of the above?
No, it was through exercise.
That's great.
The first thing I did was cut out soda. And also I don't drink that often. So I never had to worry about like beer weight or like wine calories or liquor and stuff. So cutting soda out really helped.
By 2021, this has shifted as she now alleges to have lost the weight through more harmful methods.
Right.
And I lost the weight in the worst possible way.
What do you mean? How did you do it?
Not eating, just being completely unhealthy, abusing laxatives, just doing all of these things to put my body through the ringer and lose this weight so drastically.
No matter how she lost the weight, the young college student was impressed with herself and wanted other people to see her hard work. Since Wyatt was gone often and she was forced to wear a drab uniform at her mundane restaurant gig, Mia may have wanted a change of pace. A more exciting life, if you will. So in 2012, she decided to take a job at Q-Rotica, El Paso's ultimate exotic and erotic adult party. It was here that she supposedly met the Reddit user Not Dirty Chem, who managed the strip club and exposed Mia's job in the adult party scene. I managed to dig up a now deleted post which detailed their long-term relationship. And if this account is to be believed, it details his long-term relationship with Mia, all the while never knowing that she was actually married. And while I can't say definitively this is real, he does provide pictures of Mia which are not available anywhere else on the web, so you can be the judge. Not Dirty Chem claims that Mia would speak briefly on the phone with Wyatt, but told him it was her gay best friend. He even alleges that she filmed them having sex without his permission. Their relationship lasted past her days of giving lap dances and into her time in Miami, showing another instance of Mia exposing herself to the risque and embracing it. Mia fully stopped working at the club around 2013 when she moved to Miami after claiming to have gotten her degree.
So I was able to graduate college in 3 years because I had 3 years of high school, college credits earned. So I went to UTEP, graduated, got out of there as fast as possible because there was nothing in El Paso.
I hate to keep on giving these side notes, but I could not find any record of Mia ever graduating from El Paso. I combed through all the school's commencement names dating from 2010 to 2020, and her legal name was not found. I don't doubt that Mia went to college, but there is a question of why she doesn't show up on these records. Anyway, back to the video. Mia felt self-conscious about her body after attaining a thinner frame. This was due to the fact that she now had extra skin and didn't like how her breasts looked, missing the old version of them.
I had 34 triple Ds, and then I lost 60 pounds, and I had 32 A's, but I had all of this excess skin to the point where the doctor couldn't put implants in, otherwise my nipples would face like my toes. So they had to do a lift and then put implants in.
It appears the biggest reason for her move to Miami was for her boob job. She did copious amounts of research about the procedure and the best doctors to give her the look she was going for.
Part of the reason I chose Miami was actually because I knew I didn't want to live in California, but the best doctors for that are in Beverly Hills. But the second best place is Coral Gables in Miami.
Following the surgery and painful recovery, Mia noticed that as she was out eating, walking down the street, and just carrying on about her life, that eyes were always following her. All of a sudden people, specifically men, couldn't keep their eyes off of her. She felt like she finally was attractive, desired, and started to change her wardrobe to show off her new curves.
So I had to do some research, and so you worked at Whataburger, right?
I did not.
Did you not? Is that
did
all
not
made up?
work at Whataburger.
Is that all made up?
Where did
It
you
is
research?
all made up.
See, obviously the wrong thing. Is that made up for real?
Someone did confront me, but it was out I was at the mall.
It was outside this establishment in a plaza where she'd hear a car come to a screeching stop. The black-tinted window rolled down to reveal a middle-aged man in the driver's seat, who openly looked her up and down, telling her she was drop-dead gorgeous, and had the perfect body for modeling. Mia took the card and then researched the company, shocked to discover that it was for nude modeling and pornography. Looking at her testimonies, I do believe that she likely took the card home, showed it to her husband, who then agreed it would be a good idea. This lines up with her feelings of being pressured into it. She explained that she waited 2 weeks but was unable to deny her curiosity and the allure of the new job.
There is so much porn out there that there's no way that anyone is ever going to see me. So I kind of did it just to let off some steam and be, I don't know, I thought it would be my dirty little secret, and then it blew up in my face.
Mia never expounded on what exactly she was rebelling against, but her former associate Gilbert Arenas spoke in an interview that she decided to go into the industry because she was, quote, pissed off at her parents.
Like, it was like, then you feel bad because it's like, well, I didn't dance that long. I was only doing it because I was pissed off at my parents.
If you're keeping track, this makes 3 possible stories as to why Mia became an adult actress. Either it was because she wanted validation, was angry at her parents, or coerced by her ex-husband. Maybe it was a combination of all 3. No matter what the case may be, what we know for sure is that she began working with the editor who stopped her in the street, Dave, at the company Scoreland, a smaller operation based in Miami that specializes in women with large breasts. Mia has barely ever talked about her time at this company, preferring to focus on her most well-known videos from Bang Bros. Because of this, people often summarize her rise to fame as her being approached behind the counter at a Whataburger by Bang Bros, which is a weird, false amalgamation of stories. At Scoreland, she acted in videos under the alias Mia Khalifa. She shot over 2 hours of content with them and 366 photos. While she might not have wanted the entire world to know her dirty little secrets, she certainly didn't mind a few knowing at least. On top of that, she shares a glimpse into her background, schooling, and job here. In this interview, she says that pornography was always something she wanted to do.
So you came in again, and this time, Gil was very slick. He said, so we want to ask you something, but I understand that you can't really leave your register, so I'm gonna give you this website and you should go to it on your own time.
So he wrote down, handed it to me on a piece of paper. And I went to the bathroom and I checked it out. And as soon as I saw what it was, I was like, oh, this would be so cool.
It's very fair to argue that these clips are just from a sleazy interview and she was putting on an act. However, she is truthful about a lot of the personal information here, making it difficult to detect where the line is drawn between fact and fiction. Mia must have felt some sort of connection to this industry because she was such a success at Scoreland that she got the attention of the famous adult company Bang Bros in 2014 and agreed to work with them. After the shift, they decided to update her fake name to Mia Khalifa. She got the idea by using her dog's name Mia and her favorite rapper's name Khalifa. It was there that the young, naive, and vulnerable Mia would become one of the most notorious porn stars for one particular scene that changed her life forever. Based on early interviews from 2014, Mia seemed excited to take part in a new opportunity. Bang Bros was larger, their clothes, hair, and makeup were better quality, and the men around her made her feel special, desired, and beautiful. Everyone likely told her how amazing she was, how much money she would make, and how she was a natural performer. The industry built her up and made her feel like she could trust them until one day, while in hair and makeup, the producers confirmed that she could speak Arabic, and then explained to her their brilliant idea of her wearing a hijab in an explicit video. In early podcast appearances, Mia talks about the scene, claiming that she didn't know it was going to be bad. But over the next couple of years, she started to add in the detail that she pushed back against the producers, and they just laughed her off.
Very Muslim countries were deeply offended by it, and I'm Catholic. Mm-hmm. So to me, it wasn't like, oh yeah, this is bad. What I actually said when they proposed the scene to me, and this is verbatim, was, you motherfuckers are gonna get me killed.
It's difficult to say how much she was coerced versus complicit in this scene. But in messages provided by the supposed strip club manager Not Dirty Chem, Mia is sitting in the Bang Bus and holding the script for what appears to be the hijab scene. She says, doing a threesome with my stepmom. I have the actual script, with a laughing face emoji to follow. What I can say for certain is that there is no way the young Mia would have known the impact of doing this scene. After it was released, it skyrocketed to the top of the charts. People were both horrified and intrigued. While it wasn't the first hijab scene in adult entertainment, with there even being another actress in that video, all the focus was pinned on Mia Khalifa. The reason for why it was a big controversy involves the Muslim religion, which is very against pornography. Watching or engaging in porn is considered haram. Seeing someone wear a hijab while disrespecting their religion upset many, especially ISIS sympathizers, a movement that was at its peak relevance at the time. Internet users created images of her being beheaded by ISIS, to which she responded, "Just don't cut off my boobs, they were expensive." These attempts to laugh it off failed miserably, and she was banned from her home country of Lebanon. It's interesting to point out that the community that was hardest on her were the ones that looked up her videos the most. At only 22 years old, she was the most searched performer on pretty much every adult video website. Her dirty little secret had been exposed, and everyone was shaming or mocking her. To make matters worse, her parents learned about her adult career through CNN, when a journalist called them and asked for comment. Her family very publicly disowned the young woman following this event, which appears to stand to this very day. Mia obviously was devastated. With her secrets revealed, the young woman may have felt like she needed to lean into her choices, feeling that she was past the point of no return. After expressing her fears to Bang Bros, they told her that it would all blow over and that she was lightning in a bottle. To them, she had attracted a whole new audience of viewers, therefore making them a ton of money. They did not want to lose her to another company, so they decided to present her with a long-term contract in 2015.
I think that it should be illegal to force a woman to sign a contract right then and there.
They force you to sign it then and there
Well, they
in
don't
the seat.
force you, but they put it in front of you and say, this is your contract, sign it. Like, they're not holding a gun to my head, but it's intimidation in the sense that I'm 21 and there's 4 men around me.
All saying, you can trust us.
Yeah.
This is the sentiment that Mia has shown in all interviews covering the contract signing. But Bang Bros has disputed this claim, and showed a video that exhibits Mia's excitement to sign.
I'm on contract with Bang Bros now for 6 months. I'm only shooting with Bang Bros.
1 seat a week. Thank you!
In their telling, she was flattered at being one of the very few women to actually have gotten a deal in writing. Also, if the receipts are to be believed, she was given the agreement over email and had the opportunity to look it over. This is quite different from her claim that she was seemingly coerced into signing in an office, as a bunch of men loomed over her. Mia went ahead and signed the contract, but after only 2 weeks renegotiated new terms, where she no longer had to film explicit videos, but instead cam girl for live audiences instead.
Like, people still think that I'm doing it when I did it for 3 months 4 years ago.
Although claiming to have left the industry after only 3 months, this statement is pretty dubious. She had posted naked pics and videos on Reddit, worked at a strip club, and filmed multiple scenes at Scoreland before her 3-month stint shooting with Bang Bros, and even then continued to model and webcam there for at least another year afterwards. While all this was going on, she began her divorce from her husband, Wyatt O'Brien, citing that they had moral and ethical differences. This coincides with her dating a higher-up in the Bang Bros company, who she later alleged had manipulated her into staying because she was trying to foster this new relationship. She felt like this exec dragged their relationship on, only seeing her on the weekends, if that, while she lived in a low-quality apartment filled with cockroaches. Experiencing feelings of depression, Mia said it was her dogs that got her through that difficult time. She just kept on thinking that no one would take care of her animals if she didn't, and needed to keep on going for them at least. Understanding that the industry wasn't making her happy, she eventually tried to go back to a normal life, but that proved difficult. In many of her job interviews, she was recognized. Eventually, she got a gig working as a paralegal, but felt insecure about how often she was noticed. Then worked as a bookkeeper at a construction site, which ended up being a failure since so many men kept on making comments. It was at this point that she had her Joker moment. Leaving the cockroaches behind, she moved back to Texas to try and escape the adult industry. She first attempted to redefine herself through sports. Mia is an avid sports fan and got gigs on shows such as Out of Bounds and Sports Ball with commentator Tyler Coe and NBA player Gilbert Arenas. She describes these jobs as a dream come true. However, her hopes were dashed when instead of receiving respect due to her vast sports knowledge, she was instead receiving negative comments and sexual DMs from athletes. In response to these messages, she released them to the public in order to shame, such as Cubs catcher Wilson Contreras, Ole Miss quarterback Chad Kelly, and former Bills safety Duke Williams. She even claims that Drake slid into her DMs but didn't provide proof, although I don't doubt it. To make matters worse, Mia's sports trash talk often resulted in her X-rated past being continuously brought up. For example, she tweeted an image of players on the 76ers. Captioned it, "A room full of L's." NBA player Joel Embiid, who was in the image, did not take kindly to this dig, and responded back, "Says the woman with miles of D." Drama was not just delegated to the internet though. People recognized her constantly and felt entitled to walk up and touch her inappropriately. In 2017, it all became too much for Mia as an article was released reporting that she had physically hit one of her fans for trying to take a photo. She never denied the incident and instead responded, "If you yell degrading profanities at me for half a mile, then jump in my personal space uninvited, I will defend myself." The man she punched, Jared, spoke openly saying that other people were taking pictures and yet she only attacked him. Often she has stated how people do not see her as a human being and feel that they have the ability to say whatever they want to her. In another instance, she was out at a restaurant when a man and his girlfriend came up and asked for a picture. When she turned them down, the woman responded with,
"I told you that wasn't her. There's not enough on her face. Let's go, babe." And I went into the bathroom and cried.
Despite the negative hate in person, her career shifted focus to platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. But as we all know, existing as a content creator opens yourself up to people targeting you. In Mia's case, this would end up being in the bizarre form of a viral diss track by I Love Friday in 2018. This music group, consisting of rappers Smoke Hijabi and Zeno Carr, made the track Mia Khalifa in response to a tweet, where Mia allegedly called the female rapper disrespectful for wearing a hijab while smoking. While the song wasn't particularly good, it is notable for being one of the earliest examples of a musical soundbite going viral on the platform TikTok.
You got a boyfriend, I bet he doesn't kiss ya.
This has led to the tune becoming known as hit or miss by most, with the phrase now included in the title of the music video that sits at 142 million views. The hook was no doubt catchy and launched the singers into the spotlight for 15 minutes of fame. This diss track also coincides with Mia yet again becoming the most searched for adult star in the country, despite not having shot a video since 2015. With their target staying quiet on the matter as Hit or Miss received billions of listens, the diss track creators claim that Mia should have been thanking them for getting her attention and that they wanted to talk.
What did she feel that you were being disrespectful about?
Because I smoked in my hijab, which it's like, yeah, you shouldn't do that, but it's like what I did was not nearly as bad as what you did. It's like, I mean, if anything, it's helping her. It's getting her like more publicity.
Yeah, and we're all about helping
like,
people.
You're welcome.
But if you're watching this, Mia Khalifa, look, we will help you out in any way, shape, or form.
The thing that most people didn't realize at the time, though, is that this feud was nothing more than a hoax perpetrated by the D-list musicians. They faked the tweets. Khalifa never spoke of them, let alone knew who they were. They merely wanted to gain the internet's attention, and while the message was bogus, the negative attention was real, and Mia expressed her pain in an interview by saying,
"How do you feel about the diss track named after you, literally called Mia Khalifa, that has gone so insanely viral thanks to the TikTok, which is purportedly the most viral TikTok in the entire Western world?"
I'm gonna be honest with you, because I'm a gangster and I don't really say this too often, but it kind of hurted me a little bit.
It's clear that these two used Khalifa's name for clout, having absolutely no regard for her as a real human, an ongoing theme in this story. Despite the setback, Mia was determined to move on to a new chapter of her life. Around the same time Hit or Miss came out in 2018, Mia had just started to find love with Swedish chef Robert Sandberg. After many years of being suspicious of men, since they all seemed to either objectify or be embarrassed to be seen with her, Robert made the ex-adult film actress feel safe and loved. He had not seen her X-rated videos and did not know who she was, so it was refreshing to meet a person who knew her based on personality rather than her past. Mia has said that once she knows someone has seen her videos, she doesn't want to be around them anymore. He did find out eventually through a friend, but this did not deter him. Mia went abroad to visit the suitor, and the pair soon moved to LA to be together. They created a YouTube channel called Robert and Mia, where they posted travel vlogs and Q&As for their future children. The two tied the knot privately at their home during the early days of the pandemic. Unfortunately, 2020 was a difficult year for many, and Mia was no exception. Besides COVID, she and Robert began to have a lot of problems. In an interview, she admitted that they were in couples therapy and trying to find ways to bolster each other. Despite the counseling, the pair separated shortly thereafter and then announced their divorce a year later, officially ending her second marriage. They have both kept private on the matter, never saying the exact reason for the split. Though I have a feeling that a dispute with her former employer during this era caused a lot of the strain. By 2020, Bang Bros had had enough of Mia accusing them of coercion and mistreatment. What made them full-on litigious was when she released a tweet claiming that she had only made over $12,000 for all her work in the industry. Her comments received so much media attention that many began to turn against the X-rated industry and protested that Mia get more compensation. On Change.org, Mia Khalifa supporters pushed those to sign a petition in order for Bang Bros to pay Mia for emotional damages and to remove her name and videos from the domain. Despite being a pretty meaningless display, the page currently sits at close to 2 million users backing the model up. This pushed the adult media conglomerate to create an entire website formatted like a negative political ad called FactsBeatFiction.com. where they disputed her accusations with evidence. They felt that interviewers and journalists were not fact-checking her claims, and taking every statement she made at face value. They even provide a promotional clip of hers to point out how her narrative shifted over time. In a statement, Bang Bros said, "Although Mia makes many false statements, innuendos, and accusations, we have tried to stay silent and allow Mia to have her publicity stunt without responding. Mia has taken our silence as an all clear to not only continue but ramp up her false statements. We therefore have no choice but to respond. The website refuted her claim of only making $12,000 for adult film work, showing receipts of her making $178,000 with just them, not to include what she made from working at Scoreland prior. They also alleged that Mia was in the industry for 2 years and 9 months, and that they paid for her health care and other benefits until 2017. They even listed every single video Mia had ever been in. While she stated that she only ever recorded 11 videos, the company was able to show that that was untrue as well, counting a total of 28. They then provide a cease and desist, demanding that she stop immediately. In response, Mia branded everything that Bang Bros said a smear campaign, and that she is a victim of the porn industry and wants to protect other girls from making the same mistakes she did. She specifically warns against the in perpetuity clause usually put in women's contracts. This means that these adult companies own Mia's videos forever. In her opinion, no one should have that much control over a young woman's life, and the industry purposely tricks vulnerable women into signing so that they can make money off of them indefinitely. From what I can tell, Mia has never actually responded to the damning receipts showing the money she made, the amount of scenes she filmed, and the overall time she spent as an adult entertainer. The best she could respond with was that they used corrupt footage, though I'm not sure what that means, and to this day no journalist or interviewer has pushed her on these allegations. Though they never did sue their former model, Bang Bros would end on the point that if Mia wanted to get out of the industry and for people to stop looking at her videos, she needs to stop talking about her career in porn. They released a chart that mentions every moment Mia was mentioned in the news to signify the free press she's received. And it's honestly quite impressive how many random headlines she has found herself in. It's difficult to find a through line in Mia's story, but I think one thing that still needs to be pointed out is that she has had a bizarre life over the past decade that has made her a magnet for outlets to report on. So I just wanted to take a moment to run down some of the most interesting of these headlines. In 2018, Mia was attending a hockey game when a 6-ounce puck slammed into her chest, rupturing her breast implant. Many felt that this was a fake publicity stunt. However, it is actually true. She had to go under the knife again to fix the implant that had deflated. She claims that her boob saved her life. In 2020, she underwent a nose job that, quote, saved her life as well. Her reasoning for oversharing was to remind women that she had work done, and feels it's important to be open about plastic surgery. To go along with this point, Mia once took to TikTok to call out the 21-year-old singer Madison Beer for allegedly hiding her plastic surgery. Mia Khalifa had absolutely no proof for her accusations of the artist having work done. Giving Philly D some props, in an interview he confronted Mia about her harsh statements, and she would publicly make a retraction on the spot. In 2022, Mia, who had been independently selling lewd content for 2 years behind a subscription, said in an interview that, quote, honestly, I think that selling your body, like if you're going to that definition, being in the military is worse than being on OnlyFans. You're selling your body to the government. This was just another blurb that made its rounds in tabloids before fading into obscurity. But in another year, she would make headlines again, this time for opinions that would truly wreak havoc on her career. As we can tell by this point, Mia is used to landing herself in controversy with hot takes. But by far the worst repercussions she's experienced was immediately after Hamas attacked Israel in 2023. Following the invasion, murders, and kidnappings, she tweeted, "Can someone tell the Palestinian fighters to flip their phones and film horizontal?" implying that she wanted a better view of the atrocities. No matter how you feel about the conflict, a comment like this was obviously going to spur massive backlash. She didn't just get mean comments this time though, but was dropped by Playboy and fired from an Amsterdam drug-based company. She attempted to clean up the brash statement by saying, "I just want to make it clear that this statement in no way, shape, or form is inciting the spread of violence. I specifically said freedom fighters because that's what the Palestinian citizens are, fighting for freedom every day." After being dropped, she doubled down stating, "I'd say supporting Palestine has lost me business opportunities, but I'm more angry at myself for not checking whether or not I was entering into business with Zionists. My bad." And that's where this story ended for most of the internet. But I honestly don't think we should have been surprised at what she said here. This is because I stumbled upon an almost never talked about detail of her past, a supposed alt-Twitter account from a decade ago. While most claim that this account was hers because its handle was her birth name followed by the year she was born, and seem to discuss similar interests as Mia, I'd still deem that as conjecture. So I cross-referenced the archives for more definitive proof, leading to this account referring to her husband as Kem the Thriller, similar to the spicy Reddit accounts. If that wasn't damning enough, there is also a Reddit account under this name that includes a picture of O'Brien and Mia's dog. So it seems very likely that the couple were also active on these now deleted Twitter accounts. And believe me, there's a reason Mia wanted them scrubbed. While there's some interesting tidbits here, I want to focus on some of the comments made regarding the nation of Israel, along with its Jewish inhabitants. In tweets dating back to 2014, Sarah Jo said, "Israeli propaganda is disgusting. I hope Hamas targets schools and kills some of their children. Save the world from future Zionist scum." But that's not all. In another tweet she wrote, "I've never been more disgusted by a race of human beings as I am in Israelis. They are literally the scum of the earth." I think it's fair to say that these views go well past just wanting a ceasefire in the Middle East. To make matters worse, on Philip DeFranco's podcast, the history enthusiast did not want to reveal her favorite moment in history, leading to an interesting response.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite thing in history?
No, not so. Well, I'm not gonna get World War II.
Huge fan. Mia Khalifa, huge fan of World War II.
Besides her comments towards Palestine, Mia has stayed fairly low-key in the public eye recently. The only other clip of hers that has gone viral is one of her reflecting on her life since she is now in her 30s, including the detail that she had been engaged a third time, but it fell through.
Married at 18, divorced at 21. Second marriage, married at 25, divorced at 28. Third engagement, engaged at 29, ended it at 30, but I kept the ring. I'm still keeping Tom Brady on his toes. We should not be afraid to leave these men. We are not stuck with these people. Marriage is not a sanctimonious thing.
As you can imagine, droves of conservatives were quick to mock Mia for her flippant attitude towards marriage, and the concept that anyone should take advice from her on said subject. But for me, I'm just left feeling bad. Even if you put some of the blame on her for choosing them, it is a fact that Mia has had many bad experiences with men. Life warps a human's perception, and constantly being objectified as a teen, along with a rabbit hole down the sexual taboo, has clearly made relationships difficult for the influencer. As of 2024, Mia is dating Jaco, a Puerto Rican singer, songwriter, and record producer. Along with this, she's launched a body jewelry brand titled under the Arabic word for Satan. At this point, the only thing she can sell is the edginess, so the jewelry category plus the devil lines up pretty well for her, even if it's a bit too on the nose. At the end of the day, I'm left amazed at how warped the public's view of Mia Khalifa is. The narrative of a naive girl working at a fast food restaurant getting wrapped up in adult content for a few months before it changes her life forever is a compelling narrative, but also a very erroneous one. The slow progression of a teen at a military academy getting attention from an older man, then getting married at 18, playing into his fetishes of a one-way open relationship, before starting to post pictures online and working at a strip club, then getting into paid explicit content for 2 different companies over dozens of scenes, paints a much more well-rounded picture of the situation that I have never seen anyone else point out before. In conclusion, most either take Mia's story at face value or just dismiss it from the get-go, but I think the truth is more gray than that. She deserves sympathy as she was pushed down this path, but also needs to take some responsibility for stoking the flames. Because at the end of the day, despite all her hatred of the porn industry, she continues to use the name they bestowed upon her.